open this thing and see what it'll do.
Ready to rock this, bro?
Oh, hell yeah. Alright, working on the trunk extension right here, and I had to modify a few things, nothing major. These actually fit decent. See, I had to cut and splice, or no, I had to cut, let me get, so I can use my other hand here. I had to make that cut. I had to pie cut that more so I could bring this in because it stuck out too much. I had to shorten that. I had to change the angle of this cut, or of this bend, so I had to add more bend to it. And then I had to bring this bend down. So this bend used to be up here. Little bit of modifications. You could have just slapped this thing on the way it was. It just depends on your quality control. I mean, how well do you want the stuff to fit? So it probably would have gone on without doing any of this, but I like nice, tight fitting OEM style fitment, and this was not it. But with just a little bit of, I would say, 15 minutes of massaging, it'll fit good. I'll show you here in just a second. See? Look how nice and tight that is. That was not like that before. It's all just clamped in place because we're going to throw the quarter panel back on it. Also, before I forgot to note, I had to throw this on the stretcher. I had to stretch the flange back here because about this much of it just dropped down, so it didn't line up with the trunk pan. Threw it on the, you could see it was just bent in. So threw it on the stretcher, and that brought that back up to where it's nice and flat again. And so now we got it just kind of tech screwed in place. Had to hammer this up because that was all kind of bowed, and you're going to be doing some work to make these things fit correctly, but with just a little bit of massage, they usually fit. Except sometimes. I've had some that were way off. Alright, people. We got the quarter panel all clamped and screwed in place. It's all just temporary because we're going to pull the quarter back off, but I want to make sure everything fits good. Because we're going to get both quarter panels screwed in place. Then we're going to get the rear window filler panel screwed in place. Rear valance, tail panel, we're going to get all the back of this car screwed in place. That way, if we need to move or shimmy or adjust anything, we can do that. What I'm doing right here is I'm screwing the quarter to the door jamb, but you don't just want to go ahead and start screwing away, or even welding away. So this actually fits pretty decent. You know, I actually give AMD a pretty good thumbs up on that one. The only thing you want to do is, and this is pretty common on every single one I've done. I can't see it from that angle, but if you look right here, you can see the body line sticks out right here. Stupid camera. There you go. You can see this sticks out in this area. You know, so instead of filling the door with Bondo to fix that, we'll just see it's a little light. It's a little, the quarter's a little bit in from the door here, and it's out right here. So what we can do to fix that, we'll just stick this block of wood right here and just go pow. And what that'll do is it'll pop the quarter out here and push it in there, fixing everything. So that way there's not a whole lot of filler needed to make this perfect. All right, so I know, let me get this back on. Up here is all good. I put the one screw in there because that's pretty flush. And so, and this is good here, so I'm gonna put another screw right here so that way this doesn't move. I don't want up here to change at all. I just want from here to about here to change. So to keep this from just bowing up, we're gonna put one more screw here, and right here at the very bottom, it's good. So we're gonna put a screw there, screw here. That way when we hammer that in, it forces the quarter to pop out right there. Oh, Walt.
Yep.
Yeah, so we don't want this to move right here. here, like I said. Has to be at the very bottom. That's that. Think it's gonna work, Walt?
We'll see. Sometimes miracles happen.
Look at that shit. Perfect. See? Now look at our... See, now look at that shit. Lines up perfect. Tell you, block of wood and a big hammer fixes a lot of stuff. Look, oh look, well, that fixed everything from top to bottom. See? There's a tip and trick from Chris and Walter. Alright, sometimes you got to do just a little bit more trimming to get everything to line up good. So I'm going to need this to overlap this, so just a little trim there. Same thing on the other side. Because then we can take these 2 quarter panels and suck them up to the rear window filler panel. I should note that when doing metalwork on a car, a 4x4 block of wood is an important tool. Let me show you. I've used it several times throughout this car. So this is a small example because I haven't shown the block. Actually, I did show the block of wood. I showed it on the quarter panel. But here's another example. I need to hit here, but I don't want to dent it. So, block to the rescue. We put it right on the edge. The reason I want to hit it is because there's a step here. I don't know if you can see it with the camera or not. There's, see it with my thumb. There's a step. It goes over the step. I want that step gone. So we're gonna put that block of wood right there. Grab this handy dandy hammer. And whatcha? A little bit more. Right on the edge. Bammo. Caveman body work at its finest. Another point while you test stuff. Alright, so I didn't weld the sail panels to the rear window structure because you want to make sure the roof skin is actually going to fit. It lays over. Well, it didn't. So I used the porta power to push it out so that way this would fall in place, which that's all it looks honky-dory now, but you notice here I have a little bit of a gap. And if we go to the other side, there is no gap. Actually, it's overlapped. So what that tells me is that the back of the roof skin is kind of shifted to the right side. But if you look at where the rear or the sail panel is sitting on the rear window channel, so is that about about a 1/16 of an inch? So we'll go over here, see how much this one's overlaid. And this one's about an 1/8 inch, which that would make you think that it's shifted this way, but in reality it's not. So again, I mean, can't jump to blame AMD right away because these cars were built from Chrysler with a tolerance that was like plus or minus 1/8 inch. So things could have the roof on this car could have been built shifted either way. But what I need to do to fix this situation is I'm going to release the tension on this and let this sail panel suck in a little bit, and then I'll pin it. I'll screw it to the roof structure, and then I'll open that back out, which will make that side only push out that way, pulling the roof structure back this way and hopefully evening everything out. So let me go ahead and do that and see how it works out. Ooh, one of my favorite songs is playing. Sweet. Now that the whole roof scenario is all figured out and done, we went ahead and undercoated the bottom side of the rear window filler panel. Well, mostly for sound deadening. Now, we're gonna go ahead and throw some seam sealer on the rear window filler panel plenum. That's kind of like, dang, try and say that like 5 times. Rear window filler panel plenum, rear window filler panel plenum, rear window filler panel plenum, rear window, I guess it's not too hard. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and seam seal this area here. So that way, it takes away some, hopefully some vibrations and stiffens up the rear window filler panel. So, I'm gonna go ahead and put on some big old fat honky beads right here. And go ahead and put that sucker back on. Back again. Well, just got done racing. Now it's back to work. And I had just kind of test fitted the rear tail panel. Had to do a little bit of trimming to it because you want... Oop, there's some smudge. Oh yeah, there's mud on the screen from the races. Is that better? Yeah. That's better. You see me now? Now, with dirt racing, you get mud that sticks to the screen. Alright, so, test fitted the tail panel, and actually it didn't fit too bad, but I just needed to trim a little bit of the top off, so that way I can get my 2 3/4 of an inch, because the top of the quarter panel and the bottom edge of where the, actually here you go, the quarter panel extension sits, is 2 3/4 of an inch from top to bottom. So, I want to make sure I get my 2 3/4 up here, my 2 3/4 here, and to do that I had to trim the top. And this guy here does not quite fit that well. The other side fits good. This side, not so much. But you can see from the stampings, the holes get all oblonged and they're not actual perfect circles anymore. So we need to drop that one, angle, angle, so that way this guy will sit on there flush. I'll go ahead and do that. Another day of getting this old sunroof car just a little bit closer. It's a little too windy today to be doing any welding outside, as you can see. But that doesn't mean we can't do some test fitting. So we're gonna screw the whole ass into this car together. And let me get the tape measure out real quick. You want to get the tail panel centered, and you also want to get this set up for the trunk extensions, which I've already test fitted the trunk extensions. And I know I need 1 3/4 from the top to right there. Come on, zoom in, or there you go. 1 3/4, 1 3/4. Same thing on the other side. That way, your trunk extensions will fit nicely. Because they have to, I've seen some guys where they have this gap too thin and you got trunk extension hanging out, or you have it too wide and you have trunk extension, you have a huge gap in the trunk extension here. So make sure it's centered, and also I want to make sure that the quarter panel is the correct size for all the way across right here. 69 5/8, which is stock because obviously I have several cars to measure off of that are unmolested. All right, come on, there you go. So with that screwed in place, and I've already modified the quarter panel so the trunk extension will fit nicely. I've marked the back side, so now I can pull this back off, and then I can drill all my welding holes, and I can drill the holes for the trunk extension. And yep, that's pretty much it. So let me go ahead and get that done. Alrighty, we got the tail panel all drilled out, ready for the rear valance to tuck up in there. But if you notice, I still have everything loose, you know, like this is all loose down here, because we still need to test fit all that, and we do not want to have that permanently welded before we put the rear valance on. We all want all nice, tight fit stuff. Plus, don't make fun of me. These bottle jacks, not even bottle jacks, these little screw jacks, come in handy when you're doing body work. I've had used them numerous times. So, don't make fun of me. They work. So the reason I use these, you'll see this, got this little aluminum bar across the top, is I needed to raise up the quarter panels, both of them, so that way I would get the same number. Actually, here, let me explain one thing. I kind of have a little bit of a benefit, or a little bit of an advantage on doing chargers, because I have numerous ones, like I mentioned earlier, or I think I did, that I take measurements off of constantly. Those, like patina, the body on that car is unmolested. I have another 68 RT charger in the backyard that's well, let me show you. I'm pointing at the wall over there. That don't do shit. All right. Okay, there's a red RT charger over there, unmolested, all original, rust-free car. I take measurements off of that car all the time. Patina here, never been wrecked. Well, I would say rust-free, but I've had to replace the trunk panel on this thing, and I've had to put front frame rails in it. But back here is all original. So let me show you. Okay, we'll go over here. We have 29 5/8 from there to the edge of the quarter panel. Talk about this number right here. Go over here. So I use these numbers constantly to check my cars. All right, so we got it up there. Okay, 29 5/8 on the money. So what I do is I set this rear window filler panel up here, get the correct measurements I need for the trunk lid, and then I make the corners up here work. Takes a little bit of hammering sometimes, and these corners don't fit that great on the chrome trim. Let me show you. Let's see, where's the chrome? Here it is. Driver. All right. If you look, You got kind of an ugly gap right there. Well, I will be fixing that. Actually, here, I can't see what you're seeing. Come on, wake up, camera. There we go. Now I can see what you're seeing. See that gap right there? It's kind of oogly. Well, we will be fixing that by cutting here, pulling this out, and then welding up the gap. Same thing with there. So that'll be getting fixed. Not a big deal. Okay. Now that this is all fitted, got the tail panel screwed in place. Quarter panels are all screwed in place. Quarters are partially welded. They're welded up here, but they're not welded on the front or not welded around the wheelhouse. And more or less because I want to be able to have a lot of articulation here when it comes to putting in the rear valance. But the real reason is I just ain't got to it yet. All right. Well, let me go ahead and get this rear valance sitting on the floor over there, tucked up in here, and see how far off we're going to be. Oh, hi, Gigi. All right, you do whatever you got to do to make shit line up. So, this body line here didn't line up with the rear corner valance. So what I had to do, jack, hammer, up, lines up, and then we just pin it in place. So that way when we let it down, aha, they line up. So, main thing you want to get lined up is all your body lines. So now that that's good, I'll go ahead and clamp that down. Ooh, look at those. Look at the fitment of that valance corner. Isn't that perfect? Oh yeah, that looks good. Same with the other side. See, another thing, I'm a little picky. See how the rear valance is sticking out just a little bit over the corner? I'll show you how to fix that right quick. I keep forgetting I gotta turn the music off when I'm recording. Big chisel, right on the corner. Oh yes, much betters. See that? Way more betters. How's the other side? That side's pretty good actually. D-Day. Time to cut a hoe. What do you think, Sam? 69 SE sunroof car. There's the old sunroof right there. Junk. Somehow found another sunroof from a donor car. New drip rails, new roof skin. Had to make the roof skin work with the sunroof.